away from Canada. If you were intimidated by the exaggerations of the harsh Canadian winter, or if your personal circumstances make it difficult for you to leave your country to study in Canada, studying online gives you the opportunity to take advantage of the benefits of Canadian distance education, and while you are residing in your country you enjoy its warmth among your family and practice your work and your life as usual. Although studying online or e-learning is still considered relatively new, it is growing and developing at a rapid rate, and it is increasingly accepted and recognized by both learners and employers. Also, the list of options and tutorials available online is constantly expanding. Some estimates suggest that half of all traditional educational programs will be available online by 2020. There is a great diversity in the characteristics of online study programs, some of which, for example, qualify for a certificate, while others are only for self-education and do not grant any certificates, and some are offered by universities, and others by institutes or professional institutes, or even educational companies. These programs are also available at various levels and stages of university study, and certificates are awarded that cover all these levels, starting from diploma and bachelor's, through higher diploma and master's and even doctorate. These certificates are considered equivalent to their counterparts in the traditional study, with the exception of place and time criteria. Indeed, some educational institutions resort to mixing between traditional face education and online education, requiring a certain amount of the first and giving a choice to some of the second in the context of their educational programs. Canadian educational institutions provide online educational programs in areas such as business administration, information technology, psychology and education, criminology, media, humanities, tourism and hotels, and many more. Flexibility, lower cost, ability to transfer credit to other study programs, and reduced pollution and environmental friendliness are among the many advantages of studying online. On the other hand, it presents the student with new challenges and requires greater self-reliance, self-discipline, and electronic communication skills. Regardless of the advantages and shortcomings of online study, for some it is the only means available to access the resources of the Canadian education system without leaving their home countries or even their homes. And online institutes use a variety of technical media to deliver the contents of the educational material and interact with the student in a so-called virtual classroom. This media includes text, audio and video materials of all kinds, discussion forums, chat rooms, email, and other means of communication and remote interaction. The educational process is characterized by an interactive and cooperative nature between the various parties, and thus it requires active participation and a spirit of initiative on the part of the student. Learners have access to virtual, electronic libraries, and 24-hour technical support, in addition to the ability to communicate with teachers by various means, including phone, email and instant chat. What are the advantages of Canadian universities and virtual institutes from the perspective of foreign students, and Arabs in particular? The attendance of the foreign student in a virtual study program of a Canadian educational institution via the internet gives him the opportunity to interact and collaborate with classmates from across Canada and the world. There is also the advantage of being largely free from the constraints of time and space. In this case, for example, it is unlikely that your application will be rejected because classes are full, that there is no place for more students, or that the program will be cancelled due to the small number of enrollees. There is flexibility and time limits for the completion of the program, so you can complete it within a very short time or as long as you want, depending on your interest and personal circumstances. There are also cost advantages, whether in terms of getting rid of many of the expenses associated with traditional study, or in terms of not having to give up your work and livelihood to enroll in a traditional study program in another country. How economical are Canadian online programs for a foreign student? By joining a Canadian study program online, you will save the following expenses. Purchase of books. Most of the materials will be available to you in electronic form. Fees for using university facilities, transportation and accommodation costs in Canada. However, it should be noted that some of these programs are not cheap at all, and their cost may reach the cost of traditional study, but most of them are still less expensive. What is the difference between online study programs and study materials? The study program includes a number of courses, at the end of which the student will obtain a certificate, for example, a diploma in accounting or a bachelor's in marketing. As for the subject, it means only one course, such as financial accounting or network marketing. Completion of studying a course does not lead to obtaining any certificate, but it can later be counted within the student's balance if he decides to attend a program related to this subject. Often the motivation to study a single subject is the student's desire to learn more about an area of interest than the desire to obtain a degree. How is online education quality controlled in Canada? Most online study programs in Canada are offered by accredited universities that are authorized to issue degrees by the governments of the provinces or territories in which they are located. Often these programs are translation and derivation from traditional programs in the same field, and therefore they are the result of long experience in this field, and it is possible to rely on their quality. In general, many of the mechanisms and controls that we talked about in our article Recognition of Universities in Canada and University Education in Canada apply to online study programs. What kind of qualifications can you get by studying online? How long does it take? Bachelor's degrees, associate's degrees, diplomas, master's and even doctorates can be obtained by studying online. As for the duration of the study, it depends on the nature of the program. Some institutions impose timetables similar to those of 3 to 4 years for bachelor degrees, for example, while other institutions only impose a maximum completion of the program, 7 years, for example, and in general, there are no uniform general rules in this regard. Are there scholarships and financial aid for foreign students wishing to enroll in online study programs in Canada? Yes. International students attending online study programs through regular Canadian universities or institutes may qualify for the same scholarships and grants that are available to their colleagues enrolled in regular programs. Check out our article on scholarships for international students. Virtual universities, which offer their programs exclusively via the Internet, offer limited numbers of scholarships to foreign students, and local and federal governments provide financial aid to foreign students at recognized virtual universities and institutes. Are there specific requirements about language skills in online study programs? Yeah. In general, the student must provide evidence of sufficient knowledge of the language in which he will study, English or French. However, the details, accredited tests and required scores may differ from institution to institution and from program to program. You should investigate these matters and inquire about them yourself when planning to enroll in a program. Is it possible to transfer the qualifications or the academic credit gained in studying online if the student wishes to complete his studies in traditional study programs? In general, this is possible in Canada. Outside Canada, the issue differs according to the concerned authority. It is known that higher education in Canada, including online education, has a good global reputation, but you have to inquire about the subject from the bodies that seek to join their programs. Also, you have to inquire about the extent of recognition and appreciation that online study enjoys in your country, as this matter is still in its infancy in Arab countries, many of which lack systems and controls for qualifications acquired through online study. Do foreign students need a visa or study license to join one of the online study programs? If you are applying for admission to an online study program and you are a resident of a Canadian address and you are not a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, you will be asked about your legal status in terms of residence visa and study permit. If you are outside Canada and the program is completely available online, you will not need either to come to Canada, nor for a visa for this purpose. But there are some study programs that combine traditional study with online study in different proportions, and they require you to come from time to Canada and stay there for relatively short periods. In these cases, you can make arrangements to obtain the appropriate visas with the help of the university or institute where you are attending.